This is Leadership TV. See ahead, move ahead, stay ahead.
I want to welcome you to the leadership series with me, Bishop Titi Ofer. It's been a fantastic journey and I'm enjoying myself. I hope you've also been enjoying yourself. If this is the first time we are watching this, I want you to understand that I'm doing a 30-part leadership series in a very summarized form. And you should look for them on YouTube. If you go to Titi Ofer Center on YouTube, or you go to Bishop Titi Ofer on Facebook, or Titi Ofer Center on Facebook, or Pleasant Place Church on Facebook, you will find the videos. And there, I want you to just learn them and develop your leadership skills. In the last few weeks, the few sessions, we've been looking at the 7 pillars of wisdom and its impact on leadership. So it is a leadership insight from the 7 pillars of wisdom. The first pillar of wisdom is prudence, and we studied prudential leadership. The second pillar of wisdom is knowledge. We studied cognitive leadership. The third pillar of wisdom is discretion, and we studied discretionary leadership. The fourth pillar of wisdom is counsel, and we studied advisory leadership. The fifth pillar of wisdom is sound judgment, and then we studied situational leadership. And then the sixth pillar is insight, and we studied insightful leadership. Today is the 7th pillar of wisdom, and it is power. So we want to look at influential leadership. Influential leadership. How important is influence? And is God interested in making godly leaders influential people? Yes, of course. God is always looking for an opportunity to put a godly person in the corridors of influence. So in the case of Joseph, God was very intentional to work out things to ensure that Joseph found himself in the palace of Pharaoh in Egypt, the most powerful palace at the time on earth. And God had someone there. So as a result of him being in that influential position, he had power that he could use to save a generation that God wanted to use as part of God's salvation plan to redeem man. The story of Esther also points to the fact that God also needed someone in the corridors of power and influence in the story of Esther, where Esther interceded on behalf of the Jewish people in order to save them from the diabolical plan of Haman. What about people like Daniel, who were very influential in the corridors of power that advanced God's people's agenda in the corridors of power and influence? So influence is crucial in God's agenda, and God is always looking for leaders that he can put in the position of influence. And I pray for you that you will be that godly leader in the corridors of power and in the position of influence. I need you to understand the 9 P's of influence. And once you have a great understanding of the 9 P's of influence, then you can adequately prepare yourself to be able to become influential. The first P of influence is position. As I already stated, the position is your level of impact, because the law of influence states that your impact determines your importance. Your impact determines your importance. So every influential person has made a certain amount of impact on people, and that has determined their importance. My importance among the people I lead, or the people in my church, or the people in Accra Business School, is because of the impact I've made on them. Without that impact, you are not important to anybody. Then the first thing you need to become very impactful is position. And the position is your level of impact. So there are different levels of position, and that will determine how you can impact. Some people may be a departmental head, that is your position. Some may be a team leader, that is your position. Some will be a CEO, that is your position. And that determines your level of impact. Wherever you are, whatever you are, you must make impact. When Joseph was in the house of Potiphar and was made the house of Potiphar as the head of the servants, he made impact. When he was made the head of the prison, he made impact. That was the level at that time. That was the level of his impact. But he was very impactful before he became the second most powerful person in the kingdom of Egypt, and he became also very, very influential there. So whatever position God puts you, make sure you become very impactful. Don't wait for God to put you in a very big position. Make impact wherever you find yourself in, as a prayer warrior leader, as a leader of the home cell, as a leader of the choir, as a leader of protocol in your church. Wherever God puts you, make an impact. As an associate pastor, make impact. Make impact no matter where God puts you. The second is power. It's power, the source of impact. Everybody's impact must have a source. So you are appointed into a certain position. Somebody appointed you there and gave you a certain power to be able to impact. You must always respect and recognize and value that source of power. The source of power of Joseph was Pharaoh. And throughout Joseph's work in Egypt, he made sure he honored that Pharaoh who had given him that source of power to be able to make impact. The next is your place of impact. That's the strength of your impact. The strength of your impact. The Ghana's current president, Akufo-Addo, used to be an MP. When he was an MP, the strength of his impact was only in his constituency, in the eastern region. But now that he's president, the strength of his impact cuts across the whole country. So, you see, impact grows. So God gives you a small place as the strength of your impact. Make sure you are impactful. Make sure you have positive impact there, and then God will keep extending you. So Akufo-Addo was an MP. He made impact. He became a minister, and the ministry where he was put to, he made impact. Now God gave him a whole nation to make that impact. And then process is the journey of impact. The journey of impact. Sometimes it can be very, very difficult journey. It will be a very, very difficult journey. Look at the case of Joseph. He has to be sold by his brothers, and his brothers, those who bought him, also sold him to Potiphar, and then he was put into prison. And through that, it was a very painful journey. But he eventually got to that place of influence. So whatever you are going through, understand that it is part of your journey. In fact, if you know yourself as a leader, no matter the difficulties you go through, you must understand that it's part of your journey of impact. It's a process. And then the price, the cost of impact. Impact is very costly. It can cost you relationship. It cost Joseph his brothers. It can cost you a lot. It can cost you relationship, because especially when you start the process. I had to leave Europe when I finished my education, to come to Ghana to live in an uncompleted building. It has cost me to be where I am. But you must be willing to pay for the price of impact in order for you to become influential. And then the price of impact. Now, we were able to go through all these things, the process and everything. Impact brings reward. Impact brings reward. When you become influential and you have been very impactful on people, you get reward. Most people actually criticize pastors for what they get. But you see, when I came to Spintex Road, living in an uncompleted building and going through all the things I suffered, left Europe and came through and all those things, when I was paying the cost of impact, nobody criticized me. Now that I am enjoying the prize of impact, you see people as if you came from somewhere and with the magic wand, you deceived everybody. And this, what the people don't even know is that for 20 years I've been on this Spintex Road, I have never been paid by the church. I have developed my own businesses that take care of me, yet people actually believe that my reward comes from the church. And people make all manner of things. But listen, pay your price for the price of your impact. That's what leaders do. And when they do that, the rewards come. Whoever talks will talk based on ignorance. The next is perils, the danger of impact. The danger of impact. You know, sometimes when you become very influential, pride can set in. And that can destroy your life. So God will make you impactful. You will enjoy the prize of impact. But make sure, always remember where God took you from. Always remember. That's why I consistently share my testimony. I consistently tell people where God picked me from, so that it keeps me very humble. And then personality, the person of impact. You know, when God sent Samuel to the house of Jesse to anoint for him a king, when Samuel saw the height of David's brothers, the initial ones that came in the way, well-built men. He wanted to choose them based on their height. But God was looking for the heart. So there's always a conflict between the height and the heart. Men will focus on your height, but God will focus on your heart. The person that God can trust with influence and put in the corridor of power is the person that has a good heart. The person whose heart God has touched. So consistently, you need to have a humble heart. You need to have a pure heart. You need to have a heart of flesh, not a heart of stone, for God to be able to use you. Have the heart of David, and God will use you. And then prayer, which is the spirituality of impact. Daniel was impactful because of his prayer life. And all these men, their spirituality contributed truly to their influence. I want you to develop your spiritual life, have a connection with God, and God will walk you to the corridors of power. Here are the 9 P's that can put you in the corridors of power. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. I believe that this 7 pillars of wisdom and how they relate to leadership has been a blessing. I'll see you again. God bless you. Thank you. Bye-bye. The mission of the Titi Ofe Center is to provide all manner of leadership learning opportunities to all manner of leaders in all manner of ways, mostly at no cost to these leaders who study at the Titi Ofe Center. To be able to finance the Titi Ofe Center and make sure that our projects are sustainable, I want to invite you to buy the Titi Ofe books on Amazon. Any book you buy is donated to the Titi Ofe Center for the development and the training of the next generation of godly servant leaders. Titi Ofe Center every year hosts the African Young Leaders Fellowship Program, where we attract young leaders from across Africa free of charge for a 10-day leadership development program. We also host MELT, the Management, Entrepreneurship and Leadership Training Program. And this attracts also young men and women who spend weekends with us here at no cost to them at all. Titi Ofe Center also hosts some of the biggest young pastors leadership conference. Is called IPLAS, the International Pastors and Leaders Under 40 Summit, where we house over 3,000 young pastoral leaders at no cost to them at all in our facilities. And we want you to support us to keep doing these things. Recently, we signed an MOU with the biggest student organization in Ghana, NUGS, the National Union of Ghana Students, to provide free leadership training to student leaders across the country. This is worth supporting. And above all, the Titi Ofe Center is also a mission center where this training offers us the opportunity to serve Jesus with our participants. Why don't you support the Titi Ofe Center by buying a Titi Ofe book, by creating a Titi Ofe library right now? Do it now, and the Lord will bless you.
This is Leadership TV. See ahead, move ahead, stay ahead.